behalf of the 2023 Robert Lawrence Committee, it is my honor to celebrate early career scholars with today's announcement. The Lawrence Prize, which was established in 1995 to honor the memory and contribution of Robert G. Lawrence, is granted annually to an early career scholar who has presented an outstanding paper at our annual CATR conference. I'd like to begin by congratulating and thanking all of the nominees for this year's Lawrence Prize. Our committee had the pleasure of attending and reading an impressive range of vital, invigorating papers at the 2023 CATR conference. This year's Lawrence Prize is awarded to Matt Jones for his paper titled Shakespeare in Guantanamo. Jones's sophisticated analysis of the interdependence of high culture, political power, and violence in the context of Guantanamo Bay was considered by the committee to be deeply considered and skillfully presented, advancing a complex and provocative argument with admirable clarity and conviction. Tackling the weighty history of Guantanamo prison as a, quote, living or perhaps undead archive of the now abandoned US missions in Iraq and Afghanistan, Jones offers a multifaceted exploration of the ways that ideas enable this history of violence through the deployment of European high culture, including Shakespeare. In an expertly wrought and complex analysis, Jones teases out the regulating functions of access to culture within the prison system, the ways that grotesque, sadistic humor operates as part of the enabling deployment of high culture, as well as how defiant manifestations of the circulation of culture in the Guantanamo context, such as detainees sharing poetry among themselves, quote, in circumvention of prison rules and in circumspect forms, resist the attempts of their oppressors to reduce them to bare life in Agamben's terms. Perhaps most strikingly, Jones uses his focus on Guantanamo to expose how Western high culture operates not only to justify or shore up white supremacist violence, but also as a means for perpetrators to deflect or hide that violence from themselves. In the days and weeks following our encounter with Jones's work, both in its engaging presentation over Zoom and its polished written form, committee members were unanimously struck by the reverberations of this powerful analysis. Through its case study focused on Guantanamo and its theorization of how, quote, fiction underwrites violence, Jones's paper represents an original and valuable contribution to our field. Honorable mention goes to Megan Johnson for performances of shoring up infrastructural imaginings of an uncertain future. Through the concept of infrastructural dramaturgy, Johnson makes a key theoretical intervention, examining the function of arts and infrastructures through a decolonial and disability justice performance lens. The committee was impressed by the clarity and concision of Johnson's analysis of a range of sites, from opera to visual art installation to film, and by the relaxed, engaging, and adaptable mode of Johnson's presentation. The ethics of access advocated in the content of Johnson's paper was admirably expressed in its delivery. The dissertation project from which this original and instigating interdisciplinary research is drawn represents a vital contribution to our discipline, advancing our thinking about disability and environmental justice as they relate to the urgent project and invigorating potential of reimagining arts institutions. Once again, I'd like to voice my appreciation for all of the nominees for this year's Lawrence Prize. Keep doing your important research. And to Matt Jones and Megan Johnson, my warmest congratulations on and gratitude for your informed, insightful, and inspiring work.
Hello, colleagues and members of CATR. It is with great pleasure that the CATR Scholarships and Grants Committee would like to publicly present the recipients of this year's CATR Scholarships, the Lawrence and McCallum Scholarships, as well as the Dennis Salter Grants. First, I am pleased to announce the recipient of the 2023 Robert G. Lawrence Scholarship. Established in 2016, the Lawrence Scholarship focuses on supporting the work of graduate students and emerging scholars. Non-restrictive in its research area, the Lawrence can be awarded for projects that situate theater and performance in international or transnational contexts, or for projects that focus on Canadian theater or performance, including pre- and post-Confederation, Indigenous, intercultural, and diasporic theater and performance. This year, Lynn Cinema will receive the Lawrence Scholarship for the project Coming to Her Senses, Women's Sexual Empowerment Through Applied Theater. The committee found this project inventive and insightful in the ways it aims to combine applied theater, specifically physical theater, and feminist theory as a way to support women's voices, embodied and scholarly considerations of women's pleasure and sexual agency, and mental health. Cinema's materials were detailed, thorough, and thoughtful, and the project offers a fascinating intersection of practice, theory, community building, and social justice. Congratulations.
Hello, kia ora. It's my honour to be here to present the Heather McCallum Scholarship, which was established in 1987 in honour of the former head of the theatre department at the Toronto Reference Library. The McCallum Scholarship supports projects that involve original research in archives and collections, interdisciplinary projects that take researchers outside of traditional theatrical archives, and projects with a Canadian emphasis are welcome and encouraged. The 2023 recipient of the McCallum Scholarship is Narges Montakabi for her project Politics and Poetics of Precarity in Contemporary Middle Eastern Canadian Theatre. This ambitious project looks at and amplifies the voices of less heard and younger generations of underrepresented Middle Eastern Canadian playwrights, focusing on contemporary, mostly 21st century plays and playwrights from Iran, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and Iraq. The project considers how precarity in these performances serves as a way of resisting myths of Canadian interculturalism and inclusivity. And its archival focus includes conducting interviews with the playwrights and directors to document their work and views on the precarity of their art in terms of production history, funding, venue, and casting for the plays. The project ultimately endeavours to preserve this body of work by Middle Eastern Canadian playwrights as an anthology. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Michael Bergman from Toronto Metropolitan University, and I'm happy to present this year's winners of the Dennis Salter Grants. The Dennis Salter Grants aim to diversify CATR's programming and extend its impact beyond the annual conference site and time. Flexible in their scope and content, these grants prioritize projects that support and engage emerging scholars and graduate students, and supported projects can be events that respond to the need for scholars to support each other and through the exchange of ideas, as well as events and projects for which this grant serves as seed money. This year, we are pleased to award 4 grants. First is to Catherine Kohler for her project that documents new play readings coming out of the Edmonton Script Salon, which Kohler co-founded and co-produces. Inspired by discussion during a CATR panel session, this project intends to collect, document, and publish a list of all of the plays and playwrights featured during the Script Salon's 10-year run. Ultimately, that list will be featured publicly on the Alberta Playwrights Network webpage. The committee appreciated the ways that this project both serves an archival function as well as amplifies new works by artists in Edmonton and Alberta, a worthy intersection of practice and scholarship. Second, to Signe Lynch, Scott Mealy, and Jenny Salisbury for a first-of-its-kind Toronto symposium that will bring artists and scholars together to discuss post-pandemic theatre audiences. An extension of a March 2023 panel about artists on audiences, 3 Ontario artistic directors discuss. This symposium will be an in-person one-day event on May 3rd, 2024, and combines a morning session that will be open to the public and an afternoon session focused on networking and focused discussion by a group of artists. The event centers the community-based knowledge of artists who are working in specific communities and emphasizes collaboration and communication between these artists to create future, innovative projects. The committee particularly appreciated the use of the grant to financially support and offset costs for the artists and scholars in precarious positions, as this type of financial support is key to accessibility and increasing the voices at the table. Third, to Taylor Graham and Jana Mees, with support from the Task Force on Precarity, to to support further e-initiatives for graduate students, an ongoing focus of the field and CATR overall. The committee appreciated the project's intention to use these e-initiatives and events to build community among graduate students across Canada and to offer additional avenues to develop and hone skills that will support the graduate students' future pathways and careers. In addition to writing workshops and grant writing virtual seminars, the project includes a mental health workshop, which we found particularly invigorating and beneficial. Fourth, to Hope McIntyre and Kimberly Richards for their project to develop a guidebook for fostering environmental stewardship in theater and performance training programs. One of the aims of the Salter Grants is to support extensions of the CATR conference, and this project seems to fit well within that, as it was developed as part of the CATR Environmental Stewardship in Theater and Performance Working Group, which has and continues to do valuable work towards reimagining how we teach, document, and prepare students for sustainable practices in theater and performance. As such, this specific project will create and design a resource guide to support curricular adjustments across theater and performance training programs, and the grant funds will specifically support a portion of the graphic design of the guide. A necessary conversation in our field, this guide seems timely and essential, and not to mention a welcome resource for many CATR members and artists in the field. Congratulations to all of this year's recipients.